If you've got a modern mountain bike, it's probably cost you a small fortune. But have you got a gem in your garage, an old one, that could make you a fortune? I found out this week, I do!
We're also going to be talking about what could be the maddest whip ever.
Of course, we've got the madness of the worlds from Leger.
And we also asked what went wrong for Pidcock.
It's all coming up on the Dirt Shed Show with Doddy. Yes, welcome to this week's show where we are joined by none other than Doddy. Don't I love it when you're on the show?
Yeah.
We're good at those high fives, man.
That's not bad, is it?
I tell you what, this week is going to be awesome because we're going to be talking about some retro bikes. And I got thinking about this because in the UK, whilst Worlds was on, we had an event happening here, an annual event called the Malverns Classic. But before I say any more, let Neil introduce it.
So, World Championships have been going off, but in the UK, slightly different sort of vibes. I'm at the Malverns Classic, which in the 90s was an amazing festival, and it's made a big resurgence. Really family-friendly festival, actually loads of retro bikes here, so stuff to look at, lots of stuff to ride. There's kids races, adult races, dual slalom, fun little downhill. Loads of fun stuff going on. For me, it's a bit of nostalgia coming back, and actually, had a really good time. And you know what? Doddy is even DJ'd on the main stage one of the nights, so loads of different stuff, and it's great to be back, actually.
Such a cool event, and Doddy, you were there.
I was, mate. Yeah,
you were there.
I've got post-festival blues. It was so good.
It looked amazing.
Such a good time.
Looked amazing.
Yeah.
Wish I'd gone. It was a really cool-looking event, but I was just blown away when you were telling me about all these retro bikes. How many were there? What the variation of those bikes and the detail and interest that goes into it. Because you were a judge on the contest for it, you were giving rosettes to the winning bikes, which is just so awesome. Tell me about just the amount, the scale of bikes that were there.
All right. Well, you've got to bear in mind that a lot of people celebrate mountain biking at this festival, full stop. That's the coolest thing about it. There was the Muc-Off show and shine, so a lot of people bring along their old retro bikes, they do them up a bit, or maybe they build a replica. And there were bikes from vintage clunkers. We're talking late 30s to mid 40s bikes.
Which you have one of.
Yeah, we've got one in the set. We're very lucky. All the way through to sort of mid 2000s downhill bikes. But in this particular competition this year, there was less in the way of sort of the downhill bike stuff, and there was more focused earlier bikes with some pretty cool stories. To be fair. I think, some of the bikes, and I mean this in no disrespect, some people call them carpet queens because you do them up to just be like the most glamorous looking bike. Let's face it, you're going to put it on the front wall in your lounge because it's the bike you never had the first time. And I love it because I really want to build one of those. But you had those all the way through to bikes that had been properly used and abused that have got a great story behind them. So pretty tricky.
Yeah, and I mean,
judges.
There was a bike there, was a replica of one of my bikes from back in the day that I know that bike exists, but what I realised looking at your photos of the bike was oh my God, it looks better than my one.
Well, it's not hard because you don't know how to look after your own bikes, do you?
No, I'm terrible, but I just thought, God, I was so lucky to be around in the sport in that day where these bikes, they're just so beautiful.
Man, there was definitely that. Yeah.
I mean
that bike got me in the feels as soon as I saw it, and I think that was the whole point, that we had judging criteria, and one of them was your emotional response. And I saw it, I was literally just took me straight back to riding the Harrow, mid-90s with all my mates. We used to do street trials all the time. I had a Cannondale, wasn't as good as that one. And I just thought, oh my God. And I spent ages just looking at that bike. And I was like, this is what the competition is about. Someone that's, just taking someone else down memory lane.
I mean, here's me with my bike. There it is. And look at that. It's like the new version of it. I wish I had
condition, if you see it in the flesh, I'm sure we get to see it at some point, even the cranks were brand new on it. It was just beautiful. Clive, and he knows probably as much about Cannondales as you, he couldn't believe it either. He was just looking at every detail. So brilliant. So when you're judging something like that, all these bikes, how do you do it? How do you decide what's good? Because they're all blooming good. We're given a 4-hour slot, which, to be fair, is not enough. Because there's so many bikes there. You have to work your way around, chat to any of the owners that are there about the bikes. In particular, because I think there's 10 of us. You look at each bike. You do a lap. I make a sort of mental note of the ones I like. Then I go around again, and then I'll sort of be like, that's going to be in my top 10, but I need to know a bit about it. Chat to the owner of the bike. Find out a bit more. See if it still qualifies in my eyes. Then I'll start writing scores down according to the score sheets that were done by Chris from Retro Bike.
Right.
And then we all confer and then have a massive argument. Basically.
So there was some rows.
Oh yeah, we were arguing with each other about stuff. I'm not saying this because you say it. I actually wanted your bike in the top 3. well, it wasn't your bike, the replica of your bike.
Yeah. I appreciate it.
But the one that got in the top 3 instead of it was for a very valid and a completely different reason, which I think people were puzzled by, but actually I'll stand by it 100%.
Yeah, well, that was an ambulance bike, and it was
right,
just because it literally saved lives.
Saved
which
thousands of
seems
lives.
like a fair argument to me.
Yeah,
My bike didn't save any lives.
Well, I don't know. I think a lot of people discover mountain biking through you.
Yeah, save mine a couple. It's really interesting. So when they get the rosettes, when do they know they've got the rosettes? Or is it like the flower show? They come in the next day and the rosettes are on?
No, so we have the 4-hour slot, and at the end of the 4 hours, we pick the 10 rosettes. I mean, there's probably 40 minutes of arguing within this of which ones we're going to award them to.
I love it.
So I went through that, gave the rosettes out, and then, because all the bikes were locked up, anyone's got a rosette, bring your bike, put it at the front of the stage right now. And then Clive basically took the mic from there, and at that point we had to decide which ones we were going to make the top 3. And that's even harder because you've got to upset a lot of people that have worked really hard to make beautiful bikes, and every single one was in its own way. And you know, of course, some of the bikes people are like, why is that in the top 10? But the whole point is it's subjective, you know. And each year you don't know what you're going to get. So
it was just such a cool thing to see in those bikes. But it got me thinking, right? There's people out there that some of these bikes were just quite normal bikes from the 90s, early 2000s, but they were just in such great condition, or they'd just been restored so well. But these are bikes you guys
could have in your shed.
Legitimately be in your garage, right? And you might not know it or even think it, but actually once you go out and clean a bike off and look at it, they are amazing things. And I thought, well, what bikes could be out there? So I've got a question for you guys, right? I want you to get involved in the comments, right? Let me know what bike you'd like to see in the flesh from back in the day that you just haven't seen again. You want to see it just like it was brand new, because that's the brilliant thing. Some of these bikes look brand new.
Yeah, I mean,
unreal.
There was the Pace RC100 there that sadly didn't get into the top 3. That in my eyes, one of the most beautiful things I've ever seen. And it was a barn find, and it literally was new.
Barn find. Yeah, that's what we're talking about.
Pretty much just found at the back of a barn. It was like
barn find.
Unridden, like a new bike, but it was just covered in dust and that needed restoring. But
have you got a barn find? Oh, let us know. Please have a barn find. I'd be so chuffed. But let us know, what would you like to find in a barn and go, oh my God, and see it for the first time. Doddy, I'm going to put you on the spot. What bike, because you must have seen so many retro bikes, but what one haven't you seen that you want to see in the flesh?
I had this chat with someone while I was there, actually. Sun Radical Plus, from, I'd say 94, 95, the sort of, dare I say it, nearly Yeti blue colour.
Yes.
Yeah, I think you know the one with the Chaos Fork on it. In fact, I've got some shots on my phone that were given to me by someone at the weekend. I can't remember in all the chaos who showed me them. But this bike, I apologise in advance for using them. I owe you beers. But anyway, I want to see one of them in the flesh.
So that's like the Francois Gachy and Caroline Chausson
that bike
moment.
Just when they came onto the scene, it was like downhill didn't know what had happened. It was like totally we were like, we can ride downhill, and it's like whoa, what are the Frenchies doing? And they turned up with the Sun Chippy team. Remember Chippy jeans back then?
So
and
good.
They were running like flat pedals and doing all the jumps, and no one else could jump or do any of that stuff.
Yeah.
Unbelievable.
So good. Well, there you go. There's Doddy's. What's yours? What would you like to see? Come on, think about it. What was the bike you really wanted back in the day and you just couldn't afford it? You'd only seen it in magazines and now you'd like to just hold one and think, that could be mine. Let us know in the comments down below. Okay, news this week. Well, you know what? Tom, newsman, he's away. Big news though, got bloody engaged while he was off.
Did he?
Yes,
No
congratulations,
way. Congratulations, Tom.
Amazing,
That's
amazing.
great.
The news this week is just worlds and the French and the dominance.
And it's amazing, but it tells its own story, doesn't it?
Oh man, the downhill this week was unbelievable. Congratulations to Loic Bruni, one of the most, I'm so happy he won because he's one of the most brilliant sportsmanship
100%
in downhill. Fantastic. I remember him going over the line last year. He realised he hadn't won and pointed to Greg Minnaar like, but he was happy for Greg at the same time. I loved it. So he won. It was a top 3 blowout for the French. The whole place just got destroyed. It was fantastic. It was a riot.
I wonder if it was as bad as the 2004 riot.
I don't know. It was
because it's taken until now to have another race.
Yeah, I mean, it was so good. In the cross country, it was incredible. We had Pauline Ferrand-Prévot just put on a masterclass. Nino Schurter, get this, Doddy, man. his 10th world title, a decade of being world champion.
What? It's difficult to put it into perspective, really, isn't it?
Yeah, and I felt a little bit sorry for Tom Pidcock, who we've talked about a lot. He did everything you could possibly do to try and win that race, starting from 53rd on the grid, to taking the lead, to having a tyre go wrong, having a little crash on a nadgery little bit where he lost loads of time. He did everything he could, but nothing could stop Nino Schurter. It was incredible, absolutely incredible. We should also mention in the women's, in the downhill, Valley Hole absolutely nailed it. It was the perfect run and she took the win. It was a great weekend. It was absolutely great. And I mean, that's all we can talk about this week, I think. But I tell you what, I think we've still got time to head over to Toff for a Sickest Thing, because I don't think he's getting engaged this week.
This week's Sickest Thing has to be the Malverns Classic. Yeah, Whistler has Crankworks, the States has Sea Otter, Italy's got Garda, but the UK has the Malverns Classic. It's just such an iconic old school mountain bike event. Seriously, this has anything you'd want at a mountain bike festival, like really something for everyone. And what I liked about it was just super inclusive, like all different ages, all different disciplines, and all different genres of riding and rider. For me personally, it was really cool to watch up and coming riders at Dirt Wars. Dirt Wars is just such a staple for the UK scene. We've seen so many riders like Matt Jones, Sam Pilgrim, Blake Sampson have all come up through that series. So it was really cool to just see everyone sending it. And it was cool to just bump into some old faces I haven't seen in so long and meet some new people along the way. It was really cool to hang out with Lando Steezy. That guy is rad. Oh, and watching Danny McCaskill versus Hans Ray on the lake ride. That was so sick. Right, so yeah, that's my sickest thing this week. Time to go back to the shed.
Speaking of sick Toff, here's a little thing about Toff that you might not know. So Toff usually has quite short, smart hair.
Yeah.
And what he does, he grows his hair until he can't bear it any longer, and then he cuts it off for charity, which is really quite cool.
Brilliant.
And we've been egging him on because we reckon if some of you could donate some money to the same charity that he's going to do, we could convince him that we're going to cut his hair off for Sickest Thing of the Week, maybe next week's show or maybe one after. Here's a shot of him on screen with his very nice long hair that could raise a lot of money for that charity.
He's a beautiful boy.
What do you reckon?
There's the charity in the description down below. Follow the link if you think we should donate some money there, which of course we should, but Toff's going to have to cut his hair off to do it.
No, I'll cut his hair off.
You cut his hair
I'll
off.
cut his hair off, yeah.
With a pair of Park Tools
I am his
scissors.
friend, by the way. This isn't bullying.
Let us know in the comments down below with all the other stuff we want to hear from you. Right, let's keep going with the show. It's time for Hacks and Bodges. Hacks and Bodges!
Hacks and Bodges!
Thanks for getting involved.
That's all right.
Neil never does.
He never does, does he?
Never.
Don't like singing.
We're starting this week with a really good one from Landon. Basically, he's using one of these lids for pet food tins, created a volume spacer for his forks. Not bad. What do you think of that, Doddy?
I think that's a really good idea. Where's Landon from? Is he from London?
Landon from Madison in the USA.
Oh, very nice.
Yeah.
Much nicer than London.
Good hack. You're in the running, Landon, for a GMBN top at this point.
I do like the fact that the volume spacer matches the fork in your bike as well in colour.
Good, well noticed. Like that.
Very
It's
nice.
the important details. Next one from Pete,
what we got here?
over in New Zealand. Okay, this one's tricky to work out, right? But basically what's happened is Pete has sheared the crank spindle on his bike. So he's had to tie
So he wants to go walk about on his own.
Yeah, so he's had to tie his foot to the flat pedal to pedal and hold the crank on.
That's a proper bodge.
That's pretty clever.
That's
but
inventive.
a bodge. It's a bodge.
Did you have a sore knee when you got home?
Oh God, I bet
Well,
he did. I
side
bet he was
load.
pedalling in all sorts of ways. Horrible.
Good work.
Horrible. It's a good fix.
Yeah, I like
it. Next up, we have got. Oh, Doddy's going to like this one. Richard from Elam Valley.
Is that a stick?
Yeah. So basically, the dropper post is broke, and then he's taken a stick and created a splint for his dropper post
That'll
using
work.
just some. What are those, dude?
Cable ties.
Cable ties.
Yeah.
Boom.
That'll work. I've seen someone do it with handlebars before and I wouldn't ride that, but that's good.
You like that?
Yeah, I do like that.
Yeah, so I mean, you've got to pick, you're the tech man, so you've got to pick the winner this week, and you're giving away a GMBN jersey, so it's no joke.
I'm going with the stick, I think.
The stick, Richard, you are our winner.
Yeah, let's go with the stick.
Well done. That's a pretty good hack, actually, and if that got you back, fair play. You win yourself a GMBN race top. Now, you guys out there, have you got a hack or a bodge you'd like to share? It's a great way to get involved in the show, so go to the GMBN uploader, send us your hack or your bodge or your crazy fix, something that blows our minds. You could be winning next week on the show. Okay, right, I want to tell you about something, Doddy. The shop has got a sale on at the moment, right? This show's coming out on a Friday. It only lasts till Monday. 30% off some of these bangers, all right? So your favourites are in there. We're running out of time on this, so I just want to make sure you guys head over, take your opportunity, 30% off. That's a pretty good deal.
That's unreal. Hey, do you know what? There were loads of people at the Malverns Classic wearing GMBN gear.
Yes.
Can't believe it. Like how many friends we've got there. So cool.
I love it. It fills my heart when I see it. Yeah. So we do appreciate the support and we love seeing you guys out there. So get over to the shop and get yourself one of these favourites. Maybe my favourite time of week, Caption Contest time. Here's last week's photo, Doddy.
Oh, that's amazing.
What is he doing? Steve, you're doing it to yourself, man.
I hope not.
Oh, God. Right, we're going to start with Rob Sood, and he says, the doctor's news was expected. Your riding is sick.
Oof. S-Lack says, with this e-bike fever, Steve isn't sure where to put the thermometer.
Oh, Nurse Jones. Right, Mark Kaus, and he says, pure panic when your nurse mentions internal cable routing.
Stuart Dickens says, Nurse Jones will now inspect your rear chassis for stress fractures.
Oh, can you imagine? Ouch. Nurse Jones is just such a grim thought.
Nurse Jones has got very big, strong hands.
Doddy, you've got to pick the winner, and we're going to give a stunt mug to that lucky recipient.
I don't know.
They were all pretty good.
They were pretty good. Matt Cameraman, what do you reckon?
The fever one.
The fever one.
Right, okay, so it's going over to S-Lack, who says, with this e-bike fever, Steve isn't sure where to put the thermometer.
I mean, you say that,
horrible
but
thought.
You can't see the thermometer in that shot, can you?
No. I wonder where it is. Anyway, moving on from that photo, here's this week's photo for you to give us your captions. Nice. I wonder if there'll be any poo jokes for this week. Give us your captions for that, and next week you could be winning yourself a GMBN stunt mug. Some things we like this week. Doddy, go. What did you love this week?
Look, Bruni, crowd invasion.
Unreal.
What a reaction. Unbelievable.
Maybe one of the best.
What was that
moments.
like if you were there? Must have been bonkers.
It seemed incredible.
I mean, it was good in 2004, but that looked like another level of like French crowd. They're always good, to be fair.
It was fantastic, let's face it. I tell you what I loved, the whips from Malverns.
Oh, yeah.
Sam Hockenhull, absolutely nailing it. Yeah, bloody good. Cannondale kid though.
Yep.
Yeah.
What is it with you and Cannondale?
They're ace. Something I absolutely love, Tony Bow riding through his Honda pits on the e-bike. He's got some skills on the push bike too.
Not too bad, is
That kid ain't bad.
And come on, Nino Schurter, 10 times world champion, and he did it on a moustache instead of a pair of handlebars.
Yeah, we can't not mention it again. But I tell you what though, I'm going to take that world title, or one of them, can be any one, off him because of those weird drop bars. I don't like it.
Yeah, but they work.
Yeah, but do you agree with me? We could take it off him.
I just said one on a moustache instead of a handlebar.
Yeah, okay, so it's not 10, it's 9. Sorry, Nino.
Sorry, Nino.
Okay, it's time to take a look at some things that are coming up on the GMBN channels this week. I tell you what, I'm really looking forward to seeing this video, Doddy. I went to Squamish recently. It's my first ride there. Went on a right old trek up to a place called Elfin Lake, where you could see the Garibaldi Mountain.
Oh, lovely.
I sound like a local, don't I? It was incredible, and Blake was there. We had an amazing time. Got some brilliant photos too. Very cool. Thanks to Rob Perry. It's very cool. What about you? What are you looking forward to? GMBN Tech?
A couple of things actually. So on Saturday we've got all the tech and all the cool stuff I found at Malverns, including like some ridiculously cool bikes, a bit like BMWs. Wait till you see them.
Love it.
And on Sunday actually we've got Wheels 101. Like everything you need to know about if you're going to buy a new set of wheels, what you need to look for, what you need to understand, how to fix stuff, like everything. That's a video. That one be a strong video.
Like, looking forward to all that stuff coming up on the channel. Make sure you don't miss it. We've got time to jump into the bike vault, Doddy. We've got some bangers in here. Bike vault time. Starting with Matthew's Nordist Bardino.
Do you know what? I love that. That bike is absolutely sick. Reminds me of the early sort of Iron Horse hardtails.
Go on.
Yellow calipers, super nice. Ooh.
Super nice, love it. Good start. Next up, now I've got a question for you here, Doddy. This is Patrick's Rocky Mountain Fusion from 1994. Is that a classic retro bike? Could that have done well in your judge competition.
Not as it is. That's a classic frame under there with a little bit of TLC. That could be amazing, but
good
you
to
can't
know.
quite see that it's a Rocky Mountain.
Not quite enough, Patrick.
Very nice though.
But it's nice. Next up, we have got Lewis Heaver's Linsky Live Wire.
Oh, that is absolute dirt. I love it.
Dirt.
100%. Come on. That's a bike and a half.
Look
Wow.
at that. Got him excited. Now, next up,
yeah.
it's all happening for me now. It's a Roy Killer V.
Look at that.
It's Roy's Cannondale Killer V900.
We'll even forgive you for your terrible pedal placement.
Oh, so good. So good.
Beautiful
Thank you.
bike.
Thank you. Next up, here we go. Yeti doing it again. It's Chris's 2021 Yeti 165. It can't get anything else but. Yeah. Amazing, isn't it? How
God,
do they
what
do
are we
that?
doing today?
Next up, Joshua's Norco Range.
Do you know what? That thing is an absolute bully. When you put those things down the hill, they'll go through anything. They are unbelievable, those bikes.
Olin's shock on the front looks
Yeah.
amazing. Oh, we're out of the bike vault already.
Already?
Oh,
Wow.
Short and sweet this week, but bloody, it was good, wasn't it?
Hot bothered, that one. Yeah.
If you've got a bike, of course you have, send it into the bike vault. We can be enjoying it here next week and it could get a nice, which will feel pretty great, I've heard. Get involved with the uploader down below. That's it for this week. We're out. We talked retro bikes, worlds, all sorts.
Happy days.
Doddy, it's been great to have you in the show.
Always nice
I
to
know
be
you're a
invited.
very busy man, so thank you for coming. Really appreciate
Thanks
it.
for having me.
If you appreciate Doddy turning up, like I do, give us a like on the old video and hit the bell. It helps us share mountain biking out to the world, which is what we want to do. Until next week, I guess it's goodbye from us.
TTFN.